Hello, everyone. Welcome to a Tips and Tricks Thursday. I'm Eris Creates. I teach independent artists and creatives how to never have to choose between their art and their income again over at artpreneurs.com. I come to you a couple times a week sharing some knowledge about running your creative career or business. And today I wanted to talk about algorithms. And I always say algorithms, schmalgorithms. Who cares? Well, the truth is, these days, you totally have to care. It's very important to understand algorithms and how they apply to you in your life, in your business, and your marketing. This regularly applies to social media because it's such a big deal in our lives. It's a big piece of how we get ourselves out there. But algorithms run so many pieces of software and things that do things in the backgrounds of our lives. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But first, I wanted to let you know that if you're watching live, I'd love to hear from you. You're welcome to put a comment in the chat. But because I go live in a lot of different places, I may not see who you are. So if you want to pop your name in there, that's great. If you want to allow the platform to let me see your name, that's cool too, because that interaction is awesome. If you're watching the replay, drop a 2 in the comments. I like to get back around and say hey to you guys. Also, if you like the content, let me know. And if you want something different, if you want me to talk about something else in an upcoming live, let me know. A lot of this stuff is going to inform my podcast that's upcoming. And I like to take these questions that you have and also ask them of my summit guests, which is coming up soon in a couple of weeks. So make sure you're looking for the Artpreneurs Summit because that's happening. There's so much good stuff going on. Today, though, I want to give you some value talking about algorithms and how you can show up in a savvy way on social media, because social media is such a big part of your personal brand as a creative. If you are a performing artist, it's probably almost everything you do is being present there aside from doing your performances. If you are a writer or someone who makes art, we're constantly putting ourselves out there and making people aware of who we are. So social media is a place where we have kind of free reign to go and connect with people. And to do so, we have to get over the algorithms. We have to get through the process of algorithms. Well, what are algorithms? Well, they're basically the code behind something that explains the steps that it takes to choose whether or not you show up in a way that's big or small. Algorithms are set to diminish or expand the reach that we have on social media. So the reason why you want algorithms to love you is because when they love you, they are also set to expand your reach, because if they love you, they're going to make sure you're top of mind and in front of people's faces. Now, social media, it's grown up a lot in the last 10 years or so. I mean, it got crazy. It was so interesting to watch this growth over time, but it's also come with so many caveats. Because social media is such a big portion of today's daily life, it's almost indispensable. You can't get by without it in so many ways. If you're running any sort of creative brand, especially a career where you represent yourself like an actor, comedian, musician, you have to show up, and you have to do it pretty regularly. Let's talk about some of the things that makes algorithms love you. I just said a keyword: consistency. Algorithms love seeing that you are reliable and consistent. They want you to show up and be something that people can count on. So what you need to be doing for sure is 100% posting pretty regularly, no matter what the level of engagement that you're creating. If you're doing a once a week, or if you're doing, a couple times a day, anywhere in that range, you need to be consistent with it. Don't just start something, try for a couple weeks and say it's not working, and then drop off. Because here's the second tip that I have for you today. Algorithms love consistency. They also reward it, meaning there may be a long period of time in the beginning of you doing something like posting somewhere or going live where you don't see much activity. An example is what I'm doing right now. I've only been going live for a couple of months on a weekly basis, a couple times. You can go back and see all of those old lives that I've done. Now, I don't have a lot of a live audience, but I do find that over the weeks, it has been growing and people are starting to show up and comment more consistently. That's because I'm showing up and I'm making myself available more consistently. It's just one example of how algorithms will reward you for consistent behavior. And it's a bit of an exponential growth. Now, recently, I was able to have a content strategist come in and talk with my summit guests. And what he talked about was making sure they love you for another reason. The fact that you are acting as a human. Think like a human. So tip number 3, do things that make sense in a social kind of way. Right? You don't want to do things that offend your audience, that offend people. You don't want to do things that are terribly controversial, but you also want to do things that get them excited and give them value. People are excited over things that help them and move them away from struggle. So those two things, if you can provide them in your content, will provide you a chance at overcoming the algorithms. You may have heard that the algorithms can actually stop you from reaching a huge portion of your audience. And from what I understand, that number can be very slim, like on Facebook pages or on LinkedIn pages. You may not reach more than 1% of your audience at any given time during any given post. That's a very, very small number. So if you're afraid that you're posting too often, you're probably wrong. Tip number 4, make sure you post often and regularly, and you don't actually offend people because you're posting pretty often. In fact, they're unlikely to actually see most of your content. But when they start to see that they like it and they engage, they can go back and look at the old stuff you have. So the point is to make sure you're doing this so that when they do finally find you and your brand, there are things for them to engage with. There may be old posts or old videos, replays, things you've posted months ago might get more play. And tip number 5 would be go back and revisit some of that old content. Boost it to the top. Algorithms like it when there are interactions, comments, and likes and shares, especially if they're shares. What does it mean to go viral? It's because people love what you're doing enough to share it with someone else. Well, algorithms love that too. They love the fact that you have something that's so valuable that they can keep eyeballs on the page. And the last thing that I'll share with you today about algorithms is that they love native content. Native content means you're going to go to any given social media and you're going to make sure that you are uploading your videos directly, posting directly, and not copying and sharing from other platforms. They don't like it when you're taking things from other platforms as much as they like when you're making something special just for them. Think about it like giving a gift to somebody. Do you want something that's re-gifted 3 times over? You could tell that the packaging's been broken open and someone looked at it, maybe they even used it. Is that as valuable as something bespoke, custom, and very special choice like you've made for someone as a gift? I know that's a bit of a stretch, but to bring the point home, that is really what it's like. These platforms want you and your friends to show up and be there. They want you to stay there as long as possible. That is the state of the world and social media today. So if you play with the algorithms, you'll get a lot more interest, you'll get a lot more audience, you'll get a lot more eyeballs, views, likes, whatever it is you're looking for. The engagement is key. And make sure that you're getting that engagement by asking people for it. Ask them to comment, like, share, subscribe, whatever it is that you're asking them to do. Give them something to do and take an action, but make sure that it's worth it for them. And that's essentially how you work with algorithms and how you make it work for you. So good luck with your social media. And thanks for tuning in.